Hey everybody, so today we're talking about the hardest adjustments for us since we moved to the United States and getting used to New Zealand. So these are opinions. Some people may think some of them aren't hard at all. Some people may think, wow, I would put 14 other things on this list, or I would have put none of these on the list.
Right.
And that's great. We're just telling you how it is for us, what we've struggled with and what we've slowly gotten better with, but we're going to give you 5 today.
In no particular order.
Yeah, no particular order, so it's not like one is more stressful than the other because...
They really change day to day of what we think has been like the hardest adjustment.
Some days it's this, some days it's that, some days it's none of them. We just...
And keep in mind, like, as we're talking about these, like, these are things that we're adjusting to. So these may have been things that, like, were super hard for us a week or two ago, but now it's just like normal things.
Yeah, and we're committed to getting these adjustments down. It's not that we're complaining about any of them.
No.
It's just something that we're not used to.
Just so things you're aware of, like if you're moving from America or to another country to New Zealand, like we just want to share like everything, our day-to-day struggles, so like you can be prepared for it as it may or may not be a struggle for you as well.
Right. So number 1.
Go ahead.
And we start with culture. So Maori culture, I hope I'm saying that right. I've tried so hard to figure out that word. It's everywhere, and that's good. That's great because it's native and it's part of New Zealand and everything that's great about New Zealand. But it's hard to figure out how to pronounce a lot of the words. And anytime that I feel like I'm doing it right, I'm always afraid someone's going to go, wow, that sounded terrible coming out of your American mouth. And I just don't want to be insensitive to the culture or anything else along those lines. And also...
And just to add, like, when we were looking at places to move, like, it was super important to us to find somewhere that was an English-speaking country. And, like, with that, my kind of sense was, since it's an American-speaking country that we're moving to,
English-speaking
country that we're moving to, like, there's not going to be any sort of, like, culture difference or, like, everything's going to be normal to us. And, like, that was completely wrong. Like, and like Daniel said, just, like, the culture is so different and just trying to get used to it without, like, coming off arrogant or...
insensitive.
Rubbing people the wrong way. And just, like, we ask a lot of questions and, like, people at work can tell you, like... We ask them, like, thousands of questions every day and, like, just made it known from the beginning, like, we're not asking these questions because, like, we're questioning your culture or anything like that. Like, we're asking them to learn and, like...
And we're excited about learning. It's all very interesting and we like it. It's just, it's hard. It's a hard adjustment.
Very, very hard.
And with culture, also, there's a lot of different cultures and people in New Zealand. The diversity is very extreme, which is great. That's awesome. I personally struggle to follow along with half the things that come out of Kiwis' mouths. Y'all talk really fast. And there's my Midwestern accent coming in. Y'all talk really fast. And your accent is just a little different. So while I'm trying to process the different pronunciation of a word, you're already 5 or 6 words further along. And I'm just like, still trying to process the first 2 words. So that, and then there's other cultures.
Right. And there's so many, like, we have a couple like South Africans at work, a couple people from Asia. So with that, like different accents there. So we're not only trying to get used to the accent and the way you talk the words of Kiwis, we're also trying to get used to it from a billion different countries. So
because it's so diverse, which is great.
But just a big adjustment.
So number 2.
So time difference. So America is what?
17. We are 17 hours ahead of America. So it's really weird. The timing is off. We get off at work 4 to 5 p.m. sometimes. So we want to call home or text home and say, wow, we did this today, or our daughter did this today. But
family and friends are already sleeping.
11 o'clock at night or midnight whenever we text for them. Because we're 17 hours ahead, which is a very unusual number, but...
So that's been difficult. We, like, catch ourselves, like, for instance, like, FaceTiming my mom. I always have to do it in the morning. Obviously, like, during the weekends, it's way easier because there's such, like, bigger part of the day that we have time to spend on the phone. But I know, like, with me personally, like, working all day, I don't get to see Charlotte very much. So when I'm home for the short amount of time in the morning or in the evening, like I don't want to be on the phone.
Right, we want to be with our daughter.
Because I want to be spending time with Charlotte. So finding those times to communicate with family and friends back home.
Yeah, so when we wake up, usually it's like 5 or 6 in the morning, and we can call, and that time it's around noon to 1 p.m. for them, which is typically good unless they're working, which that's part of the
luckily
problem
both of our parents are retired, so
yeah, so it's hard, the time difference. And for time difference, I like to watch the baseball games, the Cardinals games, St. Louis Cardinals in the United States, and their games can start anywhere between 4:15 in the morning here or 11:45 a.m. I mean, I think there's a couple games at noon, but like that's my range to watch the game. And I don't want to wake up at 4:15 in the morning to watch a game.
Oh no.
And usually at 11:45 during the week, I'm at work. So I don't get to watch games anymore unless it's the weekend.
Right.
Which is sad, and that's a hard thing for an adjustment if you're moving from the US. If you have sports games that
play,
a
big sports
fiend, yeah. Like, I mean, if they play at 7:15, that's 12:15 of the day for us. That's right in the middle of a work day. So it's just hard.
So this one kind of rolls into another hard adjustment, which is honestly being so hard away from family. I feel like that's really hit home recently.
Yeah, when number 3, being far away from family. Number 3.
It's like really hit home with me, like with it being a hard adjustment because of how much like we've been sick.
Yeah.
I feel like Charlotte has been sick every single week. Like now, she is sick at home. She has hand, foot, and mouth. So we're home for a whole another 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
So with that, like we're having to both take off so much work. And I feel so bad, but like it's just us. Like there's no family here. So it's not like we can ask grandma, grandpa, or whatever to stay home some days to
Right. There's no one we could trust her with. So, or trust, not that we can't trust them, but it's just early stages of that. You know, you just met these people. It's hard to ask people to watch after our daughter, especially when we're really sick. And we had COVID when we got here, and we've had the flu, a whole bunch of flu, some colds,
ear infection
for Charlotte, hand, foot, mouth, foot,
hand, foot, mouth, everything. So ready for the summer season to hit. That way, hopefully these
ready for family to visit us.
Right. Yep.
So I'm missing family. I'm missing home. That's just part of it. So that's just a struggle. It's an adjustment, you know.
We knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah. But. So number 4, and I know we talk about this a lot, we aren't as fat as we come off, I swear. But food is a hard adjustment for us.
But keep in mind, like we adjusted to this.
Yes,
like we are doing very, very good with this now. Like and you can talk about it more, like the recipes we've been making.
Yep.
But like this is an adjustment we had to go through. It's not something we're still struggling with.
No, we're getting a lot better. We still have hankerings for things, but whenever you don't have access to those terrible things anymore, you have to adjust. But there is definitely like a window, if you're coming from America especially, of about a week or 2 where your body is detoxing from all the junk that is in everything. So you feel it, like you go to the bathroom maybe a little more frequently, or it's not as pleasant going to the bathroom because like your body's just not used to the foods that are here. There's a lot of stuff that's not in it. And all
the stuff that's in like the food at home too, like messes with your brain. Like
in the US?
You think about it 24/7.
Yeah, it's addictive, the stuff they put in it. So it's just...
And I feel like the convenience factor was huge for us, like in the States, like with working 40 plus hours a week, coming home, like making something quick.
Yeah.
Those quick options aren't as...
boxed items, those frozen items, all that stuff.
They're not as adamant here.
They're not as good.
No.
There is some options, but they're just... Because they don't put all the fake and junky stuff that the U.S. puts in them, they don't taste as good.
Right, but we've been working with our cook actually at our early childhood center. Because she makes amazing food each day that we get to try at work. So we've just been getting recipes from her and stuff and making more things from scratch, like on a Saturday or Sunday, and preparing it for the week.
Especially, it's not just from scratch, it's got better alternatives. So like instead of using heavy cream in a pasta, it's got like coconut milk cream, and coconut cream and stuff. So
learning those healthier options.
So we're doing better. So I promise, yes, food is a struggle, but it's getting better. It's an adjustment that needs to be made. So that's something to accept before you come to New Zealand.
Right. So last one,
I
feel like I could honestly do a whole video about this, which we probably will in the future. So just gonna get on it a little bit, and interrupt me whenever you need to. So the education system. So I feel like this was one of the big reasons why we moved to New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, like what I'm explaining is we work in early childhood, so it may be different primary, secondary. We don't really know yet. So in America, the education system was really focused on academics. Test scores, really teaching to the test. Whereas there wasn't as much like relationship, social, emotional. Whereas here in New Zealand, from what we've seen, it's all relationship building, all social, emotional skills with zero academics.
Well, limited.
Very, very limited academics.
I wouldn't say zero. We do brief things, but it's not a focus.
No. And obviously being in education, like academics are super important to us.
Yes.
Being in early childhood, we do a lot of play-based learning, and you're more than welcome to look that up. I'm not going to explain it all. I love the concept of it. But with that, I believe that kids need to be able to like respect their teachers more. And the only have structure in it. Like the only way to be able to like have that respect for your teachers and your peers is to have structured learning, to have those routines, to have expectations, to have a schedule, and know what you're doing every single day.
I feel like it's important for us to explain a little bit of play-based.
I mean, it's literally just playing all day long.
Yeah, it's student-led, child-led. So these 3 or 4-year-olds, they go out and they play, they get dirty, they run in mud pits. That's great. They kick balls around. It's play all day, which is awesome. That's good.
And they definitely
discover a lot of things.
Oh yeah, and they definitely do learn so much through it, and like our daughter has as well. But with that, like it needs to be a little bit more structured, academic based.
And it may be different from each daycare. There are different types of daycares and places you can go in child care centers.
Right, which is what we have learned.
We are just talking strictly from our experience,
our perspective,
at our center.
And with that, like with being said, and we actually had, and you can explain this more, but we actually had a primary teacher come and observe one of our kids. And Daniel had kind of asked, like, is this kid going to be ready for primary school with only play-based learning? Because we were just curious, like, are we setting these kids up for failure by not providing those structured opportunities? Like, are they going to be okay going into primary? And she had said, like,
they're going to struggle just a little bit.
They're going to struggle because
they sit down a lot. They have a lot of classes that are structured, and they, stand in lines, and they do things that are typical to an American school, I would say. They do have play-based learning in the school system, from what I've heard and what I've been told. And this is, again, just one other school, so I don't know exactly how all the schools are. But there is sit-down time, and it is for extended periods of time. And it's just hard from a lot of our early childhood centers that have play-based learning as their main and only focal point, with just a little bit of academics sprinkled in there and about. I just worry about, I guess, some kids who maybe don't get the time and love and education that they need at home. Because for us in the U.S., it was like these kids come to us, a lot of them, and they don't have that at home. So it is on us to basically be a parent and teach them the things that they don't know, as simple as math or as simple as how to take care of themselves. And, you think about that. I don't think we have as many kids like that here by any means. But there's always going to be a couple, one or two.
So with that, like, we've been researching more, and we have found that there's different types of centers here. Kindergartens, I believe, are kind of more structured, more academic based, just teaching simple things like sitting and walking the line, stuff like that. So maybe looking into that in the future. But yeah, definitely just a big adjustment for us as we're still learning every day. But
I think that's basically it. The 5 hardest adjustments.
Of course, and of course there's been so much more every single day, but I think those are our biggest ones to get in no particular order. But
yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. New Zealand is great. We love it here.
We love it.
And we also love all the support you guys have been giving us. We are doing some really good work on all of our numbers, and the appreciation and the comments and everything else like that have gone a long way. As always, we're not trying to insult anyone. We're just trying to explain our experience and share it with anyone. If that bothers you, we're sorry. But we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. And in no way like complaining about anything.
No,
like
never.
These are just
we're here because we want to be here, and we're here because we thought there would be better, and so far it has been.
Right.
And we're happy about it.
All right, we're gonna go have some dinner.
Bye, guys.
Bye.